Hi, it's Penny here. Welcome to another reading vlog. This week, I have a couple of popular authors' books to read that are both new releases. Firstly, my library came through with The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Everyone's reading this at the moment. I really love Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I'm one of the ones who likes the original trilogy more than the later books though, so I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about this actually. Some people really hyping it and then other people saying that they were disappointed. And I'm convincing myself that the pattern is that people who tend to be disappointed with this are people who like the Age of Madness trilogy more. And so I'm hoping through some kind of logic, which I haven't done the numbers on this. This is just me making up a story for myself. I'm hoping though that I'll be one that really loves this. So this is about some kind of priest guy who has been given a bunch of monsters to go on some kind of quest. I think as well, from what I've heard from people, there's some kind of lost princess that they're doing something with as well. I will admit, I already opened this up and there are pictures inside, which I'm excited about. Also, part 1 is called Worst Princess Ever. And I just really love that. So I'm hoping that I'm going to really love this princess. So hopefully I can start this after I film this, and I'm going to film another video and then hopefully we can fit in some reading time. Then as well, I have the ebook for Isles of the Emberdark by Brandon Sanderson. So I backed the Kickstarter. I don't think my physical copy will come during this vlog, but I have been surprised by Secret Project books in the past. They are currently shipping them out, I think, but I think New Zealand usually comes later in the shipping progress, and of course it has to come further to get to New Zealand. Also, whenever it was that I bought this, I must have still been uncertain about my living situation, so I put my address as my mum's back in Auckland, 6 hours away from me. And I did try to update it, but it wouldn't let me update the city, and I was just a bit concerned that it would go to the wrong place, and I thought about bothering Dragonsteel about it. You can message them directly, and I thought, whatever, I'll just get it shipped to my mum's and then get my mum to ship it to me. But that means we got a bit more of a process in there, so who knows when I'll get it, but it doesn't matter because I'm happy reading the ebook. In fact, I kind of prefer reading ebooks these days. So this is set in the world of Sanderson's novella Six of the Dusk? Dust. I've forgotten. Anyway, the magic is all based around these birds that kind of form familiar bonds with people and give them different magical abilities. I did really like the little novella that was set in this world, so I'm hoping to really like this, even though I'm slightly worried because some things by Sanderson lately have not been my favorite. But I'm hoping to love this. Fingers crossed. I'm also, to be honest, quite delusional thinking that I can read both of these in a week. So let's see how long this vlog actually is. It's currently Sunday. I would like to finish both of these by next Sunday, but this is a 500-page book. This is a 500-page book. So is that realistic? Given that whenever I try to read 100 pages a day, which would only be 700, that would still fall short for getting both of these done. Whenever I try to do it, I can't even do that. And I am still obsessed with Hello Kitty Island Adventure. So honestly, delusional to think I can get through both of those, but I'm just going to pretend like it's going to happen anyway. I'll read both of these kind of at the same time, because this I will read whenever I'm doing daytime reading, and this I will read first thing in the morning or late at night when I'm wanting to read without turning on the lights. As well, audiobooks. I haven't been reading that many audiobooks lately, but I have maybe just started getting back into running after being sick. I wanted to read the audiobook of They Never Learn by Layne Fargo. However, I realized that my audiobook from the library for If We Were Villains by ML Rio, that is due in 9 days and there are 2 people waiting. So if I want to read it, now is the time. And since I'm going for less runs and all that stuff, it'll probably take me longer, so I should get to it sooner. So this is some kind of dark academia. I'm a little bit worried that it's going to lean more on the pretentious side of dark academia rather than the obsessive, competitive, weird side of dark academia that I prefer. But I guess we'll see. Oh, also, shout out to Books with Brittany. Is that her channel name? She posted a picture of her Libby app, and I realized you can customize the color that represents, if you have multiple cards in Libby, your different cards have different colors, and you can customize those colors. They were always such ugly colors, and now I have pretty colors in my Libby app. I'm so happy. So just so you know that that's a possibility. Anyway, that's my reading plans for the week. Let's see how things actually work out. I feel like I always try to film in this spot at the end of the day, and the lighting's a disaster. Let's move somewhere else. Is this better? I'm actually holding you between my knees, but because this camera has a gimbal, it's all like straight for you, maybe, even though the screen is not straight for me. Anyway, I have read part 1, so I'm up to part 2, which is called The Best Monsters, and we have another picture. This one I suspect is a picture of the vampire, and I think I worked out that the picture in the first part is the magician who kind of specializes in more like necromancy. So I'm really liking this book, to be honest. I can see some people were kind of saying that the humor was a little bit over the top and a little bit too crass in parts, and I can see that. But actually, I saw at least 2 people give this example about a part where the magician uses his toenail in like excrement to draw the magic, and they were like, that's just not the kind of joke that I like. And the thing is, I didn't really read that. I've just realized you can see the shadow of the camera. Ugh. Anyway, I didn't really read that as a joke. It was a joke, but so much of it is written as a joke. I read it more as like an example of like the creativity and the lengths that this magician will go to escape this binding that he's under. And I think also to kind of give you an example of his magic and how he can maybe do it even under suboptimal situations. So like, it didn't bother me as much as it did the people I saw that mentioned that particular bit. And I think there are a few times when maybe Joe takes the joke further than I would want. Like there's kind of a bit, you know, people are doing a bit, and sometimes I feel like there's a bit and it kind of goes on for a bit more than I would normally like, but never too long. And I think I just love these characters. Weirdly, they're kind of relatable, even though they're also kind of terrible. It's mostly just that they're in these situations. They've found themselves in these situations, and they have realized they don't want to be there. But there's nothing they can do about it. So right at the beginning, we're primarily following Brother Diaz, who is this monk, and he's really kind of like talked up what he's done in the hopes of gaining like a senior position within the church. And he's gotten a meeting with the Pope. He's so excited, but then he gets assigned to this chapel of, I keep forgetting what it's called, Chapel of Holy Expediency. And when she's like telling him, like giving him the argument for why they use devils in service of the church, he's kind of starting to realize that maybe this isn't what he wanted. It's funny because he's still kind of trying to talk himself up, but also be like, I don't want to do this. And I don't know, I feel like that's kind of relatable when you talk yourself into a particular situation that you thought you were going to like, and then when you get there, you're like, oh, no, I don't want this. But you're kind of stuck in it. As well, we've got Alex. Alex is like this street rat con artist in a lot of debt, in a lot of trouble. And then this guy comes along and says, you're my niece, you're this long lost princess. And she doesn't really know, like, are they conning me? Am I conning them? But she's like, well, seems like maybe I could get something out of this, so I'll go along with it. And at first, seems like it's not that bad. But like Brother Diaz, she's like immediately kind of completely out of her depth. And then these devils have kind of basically been brought together to escort her to the kingdom where she's supposed to be the princess. And immediately things have gone wrong. So At the end of this first part, we also started to get the perspective of some of the other characters. I especially like the magician who's a bit of a necromancer, and like his battle against this binding that basically forces them to do what they're supposed to do. And I think there's like 7 devils if you count Brother Diaz. So there's quite a few characters, and at first I thought that was going to be overwhelming, but I don't actually think it is, because they're so well written that you feel like they're real, and they're all very different and like well developed characters. Joe Abercrombie is just great at writing those like really raw characters, like characters that feel like they're not necessarily great people, but they're also kind of relatable. And some of the lines in here are just so great. I kind of regret having a library copy because I can't mark out the lines that I really like, but there are some really great ones. So the summary is, I'm really loving this and I'm excited to continue, although I think it's Tuesday now already and I've read 100 pages, so I'm behind where I need to be in reading that. And then also for Isles of the Emberdark, I'll put a picture here. Thanks, editing me. I'm 12% of the way in. It's saying 10 hours to go, so probably behind on that one too. And to be honest, I'm much less excited about Isles of the Emberdark. I've just remembered something in this that made me think of Brandon Sanderson. There's a bit where Brother Diaz is being interviewed by this cardinal, and the cardinal, when he walks in, is like signing bits of paper, like taking them from the left, signing it, and then putting it on the right. And is that not a description of what Brandon Sanderson does in his live streams where he signs front pages to go in his books? It is, right? I'm sure that is a Brandon Sanderson reference. Anyway, I don't know if I would have picked up on that if I hadn't been reading Brandon Sanderson at the same time. But this one... Wait, editing me put a picture here, right? So Isles of the Emberdark, part of it is that what he's done is taken the Sixth of the Dusk. It's dusk. I said dusk last time. It's dusk. He's taken that short story and like woven it into the novel as like a flashback. So like I've already read the novella, so that's a bit boring. And then what's happening kind of in the future of that world is also like, I don't know if it's that it's boring. It's kind of boring. I like Dusk's like thoughts around like progress of the world and how he feels like he's being left behind, like he's a relic of the past. But I also don't know that really went anywhere significant yet. And then what the other thing that's happening is these ones from above, which we met in the novella, or we learnt about in the novella. Basically, people from space have come to talk to them and negotiate with them. And now the negotiations have been escalating and they're having to deal with that. I don't want to say too much more because of spoilers, but that links into kind of the bigger Cosmere stuff. But it's stuff that's in the future of the current Cosmere. So there's like, I don't know, I feel like maybe it'll have more meaning later when that Cosmere stuff has actually been explored. But at the moment, I just find it a little bit annoying. I don't know. I feel like the bigger Cosmere isn't going to be something that I enjoy. Also, I just don't think that the scenario that Sanderson set up with these negotiations between Dusk's people and these ones from above, it doesn't feel realistic to me. And I feel like in some parts, maybe he's trying to draw parallels between like the Europeans coming in and colonizing New Zealand and like the Pacific Islands, because Dusk's world is very reminiscent of Pacific Island culture, but I'm also not really sure he's pulling off that parallel. So I don't know. I mean, I'm only 12% of the way in. I could still get into it. I'm hoping to, but so far I'm feeling a bit meh about it. I mean, it probably doesn't help that I'm loving the Devils. So when I think about reading, this is what I'm excited about reading. And then Isles of the Emberdark, I'm like, not that bothered, but we'll see. The other thing, goodness, I've been talking forever. The other thing I did is I finished off Call Me Evie by J.P. Pomare. So I think in the intro to this vlog I didn't even tell you about that because I said the audiobook I was going to listen to was If We Were Villains, and I'm going to go for a run tomorrow and I'll listen to that then. But I realized I had like an hour left of Call Me Evie. So I finished that yesterday while I did some washing. And to be honest, There's a particular trope in thrillers, which I can't tell you, like it would spoil you to tell you that that's in this book, and I hate it. So that's ruined. Like, I hate it when thrillers do that thing. And I just don't know, like, that the reveals of some of the twists were done very well. And the pacing was a bit off. Like, I can see a lot of the patterns of what J.P. Pomare does in his thrillers that I really love. The way that he slowly reveals things and then right at the end has kind of quite a lot of intensity and a bunch of plot twist reveals. But it just wasn't as good as some of his later books, which honestly, this was his first thriller. It's I haven't talked about it in this blog, but it's about this young girl and she's been taken away to New Zealand from Melbourne by this guy, and it's not really clear, like, is he really trying to help her or is he doing something more suspicious? And then we're also kind of getting the timeline when she's just like a teenage girl at school having her first romance and like the events leading up to whatever led them to go on the run. And I liked trying to figure out what was going on, but I also don't think it was set up well enough for the reveals to really hit. But then the way it was revealed, meh. So not my favorite of his, but still like okay, I guess. But now I have read all of his books. I'm thinking about doing like a tier ranking of all his books or something, but I don't really know that there would be much of an audience for that video, but maybe I'll do it anyway just for fun, because I kind of would just like to have a look, now that I've read all his books, at like all of them and see what I thought about them as a whole. Anyway, I've talked for way too long, so I'm going to go probably edit this clip and then maybe fit in a little bit more reading of The Devils. Hi, so I have just run up to the library. I got Call Me Evie, which obviously I just finished, but I usually try to get books from the library even if I'm listening to the audiobooks or like reading the ebooks, just so that I can hold the actual books rather than having to do the editing. It's cheating. And it's a bit late for this one, but at least I'll still have it for the wrap-up. Also, it's super windy today, so if we were ever going to test this microphone, this is the test. Also, I'm wearing these sunglasses, and these are like $3 sunglasses that I bought a few years ago. I refuse to pay like more than $10 for sunglasses because I will inevitably break them or lose them. So these ones, $3, but the arm has broken off. They're kind of fine though. Like, I thought I wouldn't be able to wear them anymore, but they're kind of staying on fine. Even when I was running to the library, they didn't fall off. So that's kind of magic. Also, while I was running over here, I'm so paranoid about people around. I haven't vlogged out in the world for a while. Anyway, while I was running over here, I've been listening to If We Were Villains, and I think I'm about 20% of the way in already. And so I'm glad. I was actually thinking that if it was a whole busload of people going past, perfect. I was thinking that if it was too pretentious, maybe I would just have to DNF it. And I was kind of thinking I'll make the decision when I get up to the library. However, so far, it's really just been these students in their 4th year at this like special school where they only do Shakespeare theatre students. And they're mainly just working on their classes and putting on a play, and there's a few like disagreements amongst them, but like nothing major. So like it's pretty just like these young people at this theatre school. It's nothing's really happened yet. The only thing that's really like hinted at what's to come is the first chapter, where there was I think our main narrator has basically just gotten out of jail, and from what he's told this ex-cop, he's not actually guilty of whatever he was put in for, but also probably not entirely innocent either. But yeah, no hints yet as to what actually happened. I think someone dies, but no one's died yet. So I will keep listening to that as I do a bit of shopping and then walk home. I have read a tiny bit. It's so windy. I honestly, can the microphone really handle this? I feel like last time I filmed outside with this microphone, it was fine, but I have my doubts. Anyway, I have also read a tiny bit more of both the other books that I'm reading, but probably not enough to say anything significant yet. Like, I don't think my opinions on either book have changed yet, so I'll update you again when I've made a bit more progress on those.
laying in with you. Play your favorite movie, laying right beside me. I don't mind when it's just us two. That corner coffee shop we like to go. Late night walks with you to take me home. With you I never feel alone.
These little songs make me glad to call you mine. And you have got my head in the clouds. Oh, 1, 2, 3. All that I need is your body next to me on rainy days. Just need your company, don't need too much. Just your simple love and it's everything. The simple joy of hearing your voice every morning. I wake to a kiss on my face.
Hello. So in classic me style, I've decided to start filming just as the sun pours into the window with immense strength. And also, to be honest though, I don't want to get out of the sun because it's been so freezing cold that the only warmth is from the sun. So I'm actually really enjoying it. So that's why I've got sunglasses on. Still my broken sunglasses. I don't know when I'll get around to fixing them. Because it is actually several days later. I have not been reading much. I've just been living my life, playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure, doing some house stuff. I'm about to try and clear out my desk drawers, which are a disaster. So that will probably be very messy, but also not reading. I don't know why I haven't been reading much. It's not true. I did do this morning. My audiobook was about to return itself, so I did finish that off just in time while I was hanging out the washing. How do I feel about it? So the actual murder didn't happen till about halfway through. And then most of it is just this friend group struggling over what's happened. Pretty much as soon as the murder happened, I clocked who it was. I think it wasn't that sneaky. I kept thinking there was going to be more to it. Not really. Especially the reveal is more about the relationships than the actual murder. And I don't know if I bought into it that much. Also, I didn't find the ending very satisfying. What actually happened that we already knew, where this guy got to jail, I didn't find that satisfying. But there's also kind of this other thing that happens in the end. And at first I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. A cool little thing to add in right at the end. But then I thought, what is even the point of this? So that'll only mean anything to you if you've read the book. But I just don't get what the characters get out of that. If it kind of hints at something, but it's open-ended as to how you interpret it, whether you want to be positive about it or negative about it. But I still don't understand why the character would do that. What does he really get out of it? I don't get it. Oh, the sun is going behind a cloud. I'll miss it. Hopefully it won't be gone long. Anyway, that means that next I'm going to pick up this audiobook, but I don't know when, because we've also been doing, since it's sunny this week, because it had been raining quite a lot, but now it's sunny, we might do some fixing up of some things outside that need fixing. So when will I go on a run again? Maybe Thursday. It's currently Tuesday. I'm taking way longer than I had planned to read Isles of the Emberdark and The Devils. And Isles of the Emberdark kind of makes sense, but The Devils, it kind of makes sense as well. Because the thing is, with The Devils, I love the characters, and when they are their banter is amazing. I love the banter when they're talking and interacting. It's cool. I love it. I love the characters so much, but the actual plot of what's happening, and also, so I'm now at the end of part 2, so I want to say halfway, but I think Storygraph was telling me only 40-something%. And now that I look at it, it does look a bit short of halfway. But we've also already had kind of 3, at least 3, big fight scenes. And I just don't really like the fight scenes. I think they're really well written. Often he is doing what he was doing in The Heroes in the first lore books, and maybe some other ones, where he kind of keeps moving between different characters' perspectives, and just as something happens in one character's perspective, you'll then see it happen again in the next character's perspective. So it's kind of flowing between the characters, which is kind of cool. And often how the characters are interacting with the fight scene is interesting. And Again, we'll have little bits of banter in there which make it good, but they're also really drawn out. And I just find, even though I'm enjoying it, it's taking way too long. And I guess just in general, the progress that the characters have made has been very minimal. Like, I'm just like, hurry up with the plot. And I know, I think as well, because it's kind of predictable. Like, I'm pretty sure all that's going to happen in this book, I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure all we're going to do is get to Troy. Will we actually get Alex to be on her throne? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure she is going to get on the throne. Pretty sure. Anyway, when I'm reading this, I'm loving it. But when I'm not reading it, I just feel uncompelled to pick it up because the plot isn't drawing me in. But when I'm reading it, I'm enjoying my time with the characters. But an interesting question I'm thinking right now is, which character group would I prefer to spend time with? Is it the characters from The Devils, or is it the characters from Hello Kitty Island Adventure? In truth, I'm spending a lot more time with Hello Kitty Island Adventure, so maybe I like them better. No, I think I love the Devils characters more, but this requires more effort from me than Hello Kitty. Anyway, the same thing as I said there, like when I'm reading this, I don't know actually if I could say, oh, actually I'll put a picture in rather than holding this. I don't know if I could say that when I'm reading Isles of the Emberdark, I'm enjoying it. In fact, I got to the end of book 1. So book 1 was pretty much just Dusk and his flashbacks, which was the original novella, and then a little bit of this like setup for this new plan. Have I complained about the planning in this blog? I can't remember, because I also just did my Stormlight review where I complained about the planning. Basically, in the first part of Isles of the Emberdark, the whole thing is just Dusk coming up with this plan to go on like a bit of a journey to try and solve their problems. And I don't think any of that part of the book was necessary. I think we could have just started from, here's the world, he's going to go on a bit of a journey. And a lot of this journey, he's by himself and has plenty of time to think. So then that's when you could have like given some more information about the world. But I don't think you needed as much as you get in the first book. But also in book 2, not only have we got Dusk on his journey, we're also getting this other character, Starling. So we got one chapter of her right at the beginning. We're introduced, she's this young girl who is a dragon, and they're kind of like young children until they're like 30, and then they do their first transformation into a dragon. So now we're seeing her again when she's much older. I guess I can't say much about her without spoilers, but what we are getting is this more sci-fi era of the Cosmere, like space travel stuff. And what I'm realizing is that I just don't really like sci-fi that's just space fantasy. And a lot of because it's got so many different Cosmere things being crammed into this like space fantasy, there's just so much terminology and like concepts that just, even though I've read all the Cosmere so it makes sense to me, the way it's being put together just feels like gobbledygook nonsense. Like, it's not the kind of sci-fi that I enjoy at all. Also, I've realized I forgot to properly rant about the planning. So this plan that Dusk has come up with to go on this journey, it's a terrible plan. He's like, I'm going to go and do this thing, and then somehow that's going to lead to a solution to our problems. But there's no reason to believe, really, that it's going to provide any kind of timely solution. And in fact, one of the other characters basically says that, and he agrees, and then he decides to do it anyway, even though it's kind of pointless. I think I would have liked it if he had a better motivation for going on the journey. And I honestly think the journey is valuable just for the journey and the discovery. I don't think he needed the other motivations. And also, I can pretty much already tell you what the conclusion of this book is. Like, if I'm wrong, I'll be very surprised. And I miss Sanderson books that had those amazing reveals at the end. Maybe there'll be amazing reveals at the end. I hope so. But I'm also worried that they're just going to be like Cosmere reveals that I'm not going to care about, that they're not relevant or not that important to the actual story. Because I hate as well, there's been several mentions of things that are going to happen in other Cosmere books, but they haven't been published yet. And he'll have like a character mention something, but like not properly explain it, or like cut off the sentence halfway through. And I'm just not interested in being teased for other books in the middle of a story where those other books aren't even relevant. It just annoys me. Anyway, right now I'm going to clear out my office drawers, and then I guess we'll see how long that takes me, whether I actually have time for reading. Jason and I were thinking of going for an early dinner in the sunshine, and if we do that, then I'll probably run out of time for reading. So this is why I have not been getting too much reading, but we'll see. I mean, I plan to have finished these books already, but I guess we'll make a new target for the end of this week and see if I can even do that. Hello, so I have kind of messed up because I realized that this is due back to the library, not tomorrow, but the next day. And I have not finished it. I am up to part 4. So this lovely picture of Jacob of Thorn, and it's called Saint Natalia's Flame, which is the least interesting title of a part so far in this book. So somehow I need to read like 160 pages in the next 2 days, which should be fine, except I still want to play Hello Kitty Island Adventure, and also tomorrow we were going to go on like a shopping trip to the next town over, so that means less reading time. Honestly, it shouldn't matter. I should definitely still be able to find the time, but we'll see how well I go, I guess. This has a hold on it, so I can't keep it longer. And also, like, my old library used to not have library fines anymore, but my new library has fines, so if I keep it, I'm going to have to pay not much, I think, so I could, but I'd rather not. So I'm going to try and finish this off. Like, I'm actually going to try just sit here and read it until I finish it, but I feel like I'm going to get distracted by other things and just run out of time. So then we'll have to see how much time I've got tomorrow. Honestly, I could not play Hello Kitty and then I would totally have time to finish it, but will I do that? I don't know. Also, so part 3, most of the book are characters who are kind of like paired off and off in these different pairings. And I liked seeing the different interactions between those different pairings. It kind of gave you an opportunity to see different aspects of the characters. And I still really love the characters, and like their banter when they talk together is great. And some of the plot points were really cool, although probably the coolest ones were brushed over pretty quickly. And then, of course, right at the end of the part was another big fight scene. And like, honestly, big picture, what happened in that fight scene was pretty cool, like very epic. And like the magic of the world, the way that it incorporates religion and like necromancy is really cool. But also the fight scene was just so drawn out that it was a lot for me. I don't tend to like fight scenes. I still say these are very well written, but they're so drawn out and long. It really doesn't need to be that long. Anyway, we'll see how the next part goes. As well, where is my Kobo? I thought it was, oh, it's over here. So I got to the end as well of part 3 in Isles of the Emberdark. I still feel very like meh about this. I just don't think I like Cosmere books set in space. Like, well, not kind of a space. But I just don't like having all the different elements of the Cosmere like interacting. I know it should feel cool, and I'm sure like super fans of the Cosmere will love it, but I'm just like, none of it really seems very believable to me. And just the way the characters are interacting and the way that they're planning, like the things that they're doing based on their motivations, they kind of like their motivations make sense for what they're doing, but what they're doing still doesn't really make sense. Does that make sense? Probably not. I don't think that any of these characters would seriously act like they're acting in this. It all feels very YA. I would actually say some of this feels very similar to the 3rd book, Cytonic, in the Skyward series, and I hated that. So, yeah. I do think there's a little hint of something which might turn into a cool reveal, but I'm pretty sure everything else is just going to go as planned. Also, we did get Hoyd. I hate Hoyd these days. I liked Hoyd when he was just like vague references of something bigger, but now that he's a character, not my favorite. I will admit in this one, he's more of like a trusted advisor, and he's a little bit more serious, so like much less annoying than in like Tress and Yumi, but still I don't like him. And I don't really understand why so many people in the Cosmere, or so many of the heroes of our stories, seem to really trust him and admire him. I'm more on the side of a lot of other characters in the Cosmere who think he's some kind of bad guy. I'm still suspicious that he's a bad guy. And actually, well, let's not go into Cosmere ramblings. I'm going to do a Stormlight ramble. I did a Stormlight Archive review, but I'm going to do a ramble where maybe I'll ramble about some of that stuff, but I feel like that's going to get way too long, way too quickly if I talk about all my thoughts. Anyway, the summary of this is I'm going to finish it. There are some cool bits in it, but most of it is pretty mid. My physical copy, though, should be in New Zealand now, so maybe I'll get it this week. I doubt I'll get it before the end of this video, though. As well, of course, I've been reading my audiobooks, so they never learn. I actually think I'm nearly at the end now since I last talked to you, because I did go on a couple of runs. Very impressed with myself. What I was expecting to feel from this is like a lot of catharsis about terrible men getting what's coming to them. And instead, though, I have found myself on the side of, that's a bit extreme. And I think maybe this is why revenge books never really work that well for me either. I don't know. There are definitely books out there where terrible men get what they have coming, and I enjoy it. Like, for example, Wolf's Brother? I'm trying to think. Did I read this in just my last vlog? Probably, because that's how slowly I'm reading at the moment. So I definitely can enjoy terrible men suffering, but this, I don't know. It's not convincing me. And I don't know if it's trying to convince me, but it's definitely interesting. There was a reveal somewhere along the way that I quite enjoyed. Should have seen it coming. Actually, I don't know how much I've talked about this in this vlog, but mostly in this we're getting like two perspectives. One is a student at this university and one is a teacher. And the student is like new and anxious, and then her roommate is very bubbly, and obviously, eventually, they come across some not so great guys. Then the teacher, so right from the beginning, we get her killing this young man who'd been involved in some not great party things. And then she's kind of then planning to do something with a colleague of hers. And at the point I'm at, so there's only about an hour and a half, I guess, of the audiobook to go. I don't really know where I'm up to in the actual book. But I think both of those timelines are kind of going to escalate in intensity. It's hard to talk about these kind of books without spoiling things, even though I haven't necessarily been enjoying it in the way that I thought I would. Like, I haven't been enjoying these men getting what they deserved. I have still found myself quite invested in the story, so I am looking forward to finishing this. When, I don't know, because I really need to finish this. As I said, we're going to go shopping, so that'll take some time too, so I don't know.
As I wander through the forest, walking on my Celia, with each step I spread more spore dust. Now the natural cycle's begun.
Hello, I am wandering around this park trying to find a spot where I feel like it's not windy and I'm not being watched, and honestly, I don't think that such a spot actually exists. So maybe I'll just give up and sit somewhere random. I don't know. Last time I came down here and then someone wandered around. I don't know. There's probably no winning. What about I just sit down here and we'll just talk? Am I going to get a wet butt? Probably. So I am here because I just went to the library and I returned The Devils. It is the day that it's due. I don't know that I've often finished a library book on the day that it was due so that I could return it on the day that it was due. I think normally I just give up at that point. But I didn't finish it till this morning because yesterday we did go shopping and it took most of the day to get through everything we wanted to look at. I did get these new sunglasses. They're not exactly what I wanted, but the price, $4.99, exactly what I wanted. Well, actually more than I wanted to spend, but reasonable. The main thing I always want from sunglasses is I want them dark at the top and light at the bottom, and that's kind of hard to find at the price point I want. Anyway, The Devils. I finished it. I loved it. I can definitely see why it wouldn't be for everyone. The sense of humor is very crass at times, but also sometimes really intelligent and brilliant. And I love the brilliant bits. And there's some chapters that are so like poignant and meaningful. And I love the way that they're constructed. The writing is like immaculate. And then there's other bits where, I guess this is where I would say I don't love it. Like so many fight scenes and just bits where I didn't feel like I was getting much meaning out of it. But at the end of the day, I love the characters. Like, I'm really glad. I think initially when this was being marketed, it was being marketed kind of as a standalone. And I'm really glad it's a series because I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next. It's set up a little tiny bit. I don't know what my hair's doing. It set up a tiny little bit for it at the very end. And I'm excited to see what will happen next for The Devils. I think if you love fight scenes and action scenes and you don't mind a bit of like real dark and crass humor, then this could be an amazing book. Honestly, I still loved it, even though I think it had its flaws or like some bits that weren't especially for me. All that it did so well kind of made up for that. I just kind of wish in some ways that I had actually had more time to read it, even though I took a long time, but I still felt like I rushed it sometimes. I don't know. It's actually almost the end of July now, and I feel like I've read hardly anything this month. I'm going to try and work out my priorities better next month. I need to actually work out what I'm doing with Hello Kitty Island Adventure. That wind is terrible. I'm going to blow away. But the other thing I should tell you about is, what's it called? They Never Learn. So I just finished it on my way over here. And I enjoyed it. When I was reading it, I enjoyed it. But the actual message, I don't know if it hit it. I think if you just want a fun story where, is it fun? It's not really fun. I feel like it didn't deal with the themes with enough nuance. But if you're heavily on the side of men that do terrible things should die, no matter what, then you'll probably really enjoy this. I don't know that I am to that level of extremes. And I think as well, like, I just don't think the only way to make the world a better place is to kill people. In fact, I almost always never think that. So I kind of struggled with the overall messages of the book. And I think it did sometimes try to look at things with more care, but I just don't, I'm not sure about the overall message. But I like some of the parts of the story. I guess as well, I don't want to spoil it, so I'll be careful with what I say here. But like, if you're going to murder someone and you're going to have a false alibi and you're going to catch the train home, what are you doing? I just feel like there were a few technicalities about these murders where she would definitely have been caught. And she's trying to make out like she hasn't been caught with these things in the past. And I'm like, you would definitely get caught. You are not taking enough care at all. So, I mean, I guess you could say in that perspective, at least it's not trying to be a how-to manual. Anyway, I don't know if I loved it, but I had enough fun reading it. Like, I felt invested while I was reading it. I think that's the main thing. So it was an okay audiobook. I actually have a problem now where I'm about to run home. Well, will I run? Will I walk? I'll probably walk. And I don't have an audiobook. Maybe I'll listen to some music because I don't know what I even want to read yet. And I feel like I'm just going to there's one more day of July. I think I'm just going to take that as a break from reading and then reset in August. And maybe taking a day off reading will make me miss it. I think a day is all I need to miss it. Actually, I doubt I can even go a day. Anyway, as well. So I still have to finish off Isles of the Emberdark. I've only got like an hour or two. So I'll finish off this vlog once I finish that, which will be probably when I go home. I say I'm going to take a break from reading, but I'm not really. Okay, shout out to my sister and I guess also the New Zealand Postal Service because they have managed to get me this book by the end of this vlog. So let's open it up. So by this book, I mean Isles of the Emberdark. Now, it is a little bit sad because I think I paid quite a lot to own this book. And as I've been saying, I haven't really been loving it. I have, at this point, finished it. And once we look at this, I'll tell you my final thoughts. But overall, it's not great. But I'm still excited about this book. So there's a random little sticker in here about the Eye of the World leather-bound. So this is just a little piece of advertising, but I don't mind that the actual sticker is the sneaky wheel logo. Can I put that there and you'll be able to see it? I'm not sure how the focusing works on this camera. I've never really tried it before. Anyway, that's in there. Also, there's some other stuff in here. A sticker. That's quite lovely, actually. Maybe I will put that on something. I've gathered some stickers lately and I need to find a home for them. We also have a bookmark. I assume this is Dusk and then this side is Vathi. I'm not sure how to say her name. And then where did I put the rest of my Cosmic bookmarks? No idea. Anyway, that should go with those. And then this pin is Dusk as well with his two little birds. It's kind of cute. I do really like the birds, especially seeing them all little and cute like that. Okay, and then it's just the book. It is also quite a beautiful book, so at least it has that going for it. It is also, though, black sprayed edges. I am not a fan of sprayed edges. I just haven't seen any that I feel like are going to withstand the activity of reading the book. Oh, it's got this bird on the back. That's pretty. If I take this off, it'll be less reflective. Like, already, just opening this, there's like minor scratches already on the black sprayed edges. And I feel like something about the sprayed edges makes it really obvious that there's like sections to the book, you know, because the pages are bound in like sections. And it's just not as smooth. And like you wouldn't normally look at the edges of the pages on a book, so you wouldn't normally notice. Anyway, not really a fan of the black sprayed edges, even though they do look kind of cool. And I mean, I'm not really going to read this book often. I'm just going to have it on my shelf being beautiful. Normally, I'm really good at like withstanding the lure of like fancy special editions. And I honestly, because of where I seem to be going with my taste and Brandon Sanderson, which is like diverging, I don't know that I'll be able to justify buying any more special project books, which is a bit sad. Because like these end pages are pretty cool. And I'm sure this will have some cool art in it because I did already see the art in the ebook. This is the image this is the image that's on the bookmark. Even just opening this, like it doesn't sit open. Actually, some of the pages in this book are black. What's that about? That wasn't in the ebook. The whole like second half of the book is black. From where? From book 2. I guess because we're in a place where things are darker. It does make sense. But yeah, didn't get that from the ebook, so that's interesting. It's a lot harder to find the art pages. There's also this picture in here of Starling. I think there was a few other pictures too throughout it, but it's hard to find them. Oh, there's this one on a boat in the middle of nowhere. I'm actually quite impressed about the black pages. I kind of wish I'd known it was like that when I read the book. And that probably does mean like the sprayed edges for the black section probably make more sense. I almost wish they just left these pages black and these ones fully white rather than spraying the edges. But I get it. Okay, this is a beautiful book on the outside. The inside, the thing is, I feel like there were some really cool ideas in here, but all the Cosmere goings on really distracted from that main idea. And I mean, part of the core theme of the book is this idea of suddenly discovering that you're part of an expanding world and being thrown into the progress of technology and civilization. Like, how do you find your place in that while not losing yourself, but also like accepting that progress is an inevitability? I just keep looking at this book and thinking it's so beautiful. I wish I had loved this book more. There were some really cool ideas in there. I just feel like it was rushed. Actually, what I just wrote my Goodreads review, and what I was thinking in that is both this and actually Wind and Truth felt like we were getting the origin stories of really cool characters, but those origin stories feel like more like setup for something else. The problem I have is that I don't think I'm going to like the something else, because the something else is going to be space fantasy kind of thing. Like, this set up some really cool characters, and it felt like the origin story of some really like superhero style characters, but I just wasn't invested. I think people who really like the Cosmere and seeing all those connections will really like this. And there are some really cool ideas, and I wish he would do more with those ideas without all the other stuff distracting from it. But I guess he's not writing specifically for me, and I'm just going to have to accept that. Like, I still think it was an okay story and a beautiful book. I can't help but feel a bit disappointed in it. And I really believe that if this was written by a different author, this would be categorized as YA, because it's more like a cool, fun adventure book rather than really getting into the different themes with any depth. I'm not sure that that's really how you categorize YA. Like, you can have YA books that have a lot of depth, but this, I don't know, it's just like a fun adventure book. If you love fun adventure books, I think you could love this. There's a lot of cool ideas, but I wish he would do more with it. Wow, there was another picture and it looked cool. Where was it? I did see that in the ebook, but it wasn't like all shiny like it is in this. I'm going to have to flick through this really slowly to look at all the pictures. Oh, another one. There's some kind of more pencil-y sketched than this. Actually, the other thing I was going to say about this, because that's reminding me of the fact that it started with flashbacks to the novella. Brandon Sanderson's argument in the foreword or something was that he wanted to include the novella in the story because it seemed unreasonable to expect people to read the novella before reading a full-size book, and like not a good marketing strategy. But you can't read this without having read significant other pieces in the Cosmere, or like, it's not a good idea. You should really have read Mistborn and Stormlight Archive before you read this. So then, once you've read all of that, adding the requirement to also have read a novella doesn't seem like a big ask. But I guess if he had cut that novella out and the whole first book, this would have been a bit short compared to the other secret projects. So was that the real reason, Brandon? I do like the birds. Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. The summary is, there were some cool things about this. It's okay. I can see lots of Cosmere fans really loving this. I felt average about it. I am glad to own the pretty book though. So I'll try and focus, or try and just remember the bits I like and forget about the bits I didn't like. But if you see me saying I'm going to buy another one of these kind of books from Brandon, I don't know, call me out, because I really shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, this vlog ended up way longer than I expected, also covering a longer period than I expected. I am this afternoon going to film my TBR, and then in August we're going to try and get back into reading a little bit better. Maybe. Anyway, do let me know if you've read any of these books, because I'd love to chat with you about them down in the comments, or let me know what you've been reading. Like, how did your reading go in July? Surely better than mine. Anyway, do subscribe if you'd like to see more of my bookish videos. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.